Guys, before I get into it, I wanted to say how I'm gonna do this. So first, I'm gonna go over my topic, my knowledge collected, and then I'm gonna go over the process of my research. And then after my process of research, I'm gonna go through how I validated that research, and also my notes, how I took notes on the topic. And so yeah, hope you follow along. Hey guys, alright, so for my topic, I picked overtraining. One being my field of interest is personal training and things of that nature. And I didn't want to look up something that would be boring and already pretty much understood. I feel like overtraining is kind of a not well known topic and not many people know about it only because, not a lot of people think about it. So let's get into it. So topic is my overtraining. Hang on, is this recording? No, it's not. Oh, it is recording. Nice, okay. And then we're going to go through the process of oh, never mind, the articles collected, or the knowledge collected. So from knowledge collected, I got an article from the Journal of Advanced Medicine and Science, and it was titled Overuse, Tissue Fatigue, and Injuries. My second article is from Sports Health, a multidisciplinary approach, and it's titled Overtraining Syndrome. My third article is from the Journal of Exercise Philosophy, and it's titled Overtraining Syndrome, a meta-analytic review. So these three articles were very informative. I felt like I gained a lot of knowledge from them. And through the process of research, I'm going to show you guys how I did that. So first we're going to open up Chrome. I'm going to go to Paradise Valley Library Center, or the library database. And through the library database, through a research topic, the library database is very informative. And granted, this was how we were instructed to look things up. There are obviously other ways to look things up. So then I would type in over training. Excuse me. And it's probably going to make me sign in here, but whatever. Oh, no. Cool. So then I have, articles on overtraining, and then I'm going to narrow down my search by only clicking on scholarly and peer review. And then as you can see, the numbers went down quite a lot. So then I'm just going to go through, pick a random one. And let's go with this one, overtraining syndrome. Let's see, what year is it? 2012? Not too bad. No, there it makes me sign in. Okay, so here we go. We got a full article on overtraining. And so that was just one way. I remember another way that the instructor or the librarian told us is we can go to A to Z, list e-resources. You can go to Academic One file right here. And it's just another search engine. I believe that they're both connected, but they're a little bit more diverse. Go to full text documents and full peer-reviewed journals, and you can do overtraining. Oh, no, silly me. There's R in there. Overtraining. Let's go with that. And you can be more specific in your search and add other words like overtraining or excessive exercise, but for this I found overtraining is really the only word I need. So look, here's another one, actually one of the ones that I used. So I'm going to click on that. And here we go, we have another article. Okay. So next, let's see what else we got. That was the process of research and how to validate. Okay. So let's get out of here. So to validate these, I used two different methods. So one, see the author's name right here. Obviously, these people aren't going to write anything unless they're legit in this field. So you can click on the author's name, open in a new tab, And through the author's name, if they have other articles that are similar to the field that you were, or the thing that they wrote, like let's see, psychological response to altitude, sounds like something with breathing, oxygen, yep, health related, homos, whatever, and vascular access thrombosis, whatever, that's definitely health related. Um, Magle cyclist effect on muscle tissue. Yeah, these are all health related, sports related in some aspect. So you can tell that this author has put a lot of effort into this field of study. And you can do the same thing with the other authors. You know, God damn it. Let's see, overtraining, segmented line, heart rate. Yep, same thing. Similar articles, same field, more or less. Okay, also what you can do, I'm gonna highlight this author's name, copy, and I'm going to search him, Google search him. So, let's see what we got here. We got a bunch of old looking dudes that looked official. Okay, so let's click on this. Profile database. Let's hope this is the guy. I think this is where I went. Yep. Okay. Is that him? Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is the guy. So, athletic training exercise philosophy. So, he is a professor of this class, So, you can tell that obviously if this guy has wrote numerous articles and he's also a professor at a university under the title of athletic training exercise philosophy, and a graduate condor of athletic training exercise, whatever that is. You can tell that obviously this guy is legit. So those are the two methods I use to validate the information. Obviously, if you wanted to, you could read the article. Yeah. Read the article. If you have any questions about the article, you could do another secondary research. If anything, you can go out and do primary research and ask people about this. Like, you could totally, in this field, you could go to a gym and ask trainers about what they believe on this thing, or you could, that would be considered primary research. This is mostly just secondary research, so you can keep going through articles and articles, and obviously if they're all similarly related, then you can tell that it's pretty legit. So next topic. Oh, yeah. Alright, so next step after validation is how did I organize all my information into notes. So we're going to go into that. Come on. I think that's how you spell it. Let's check that. Organize. Alright, whatever. I totally spelled that wrong. But you get the idea. So for my notes, let's zoom in on that real quick. I did basic bulletin notes. I did the summary of it. Anything that I found interesting or important, I would write down in quick little sentences. I feel that's easiest for me because it's more or less a summary of the notes, and that's how I did the notes. Yeah, pretty simple. Nothing too extreme. Cornell notes and whatnot are cool, but I feel like bulletin's pretty simple. Not much can't really go wrong with it. You can always reread it afterwards. It's right there for you. So. Alright, what's up guys? I'm back in the flesh. So we're going to go through how I rehearsed for this knowledge, or how I maintain this knowledge, I guess the word is. I'm not really sure. I'm pretty sure there's a better word for that. But basically, you want to go through the information, the articles. I read them, as anyone should if you're very interested in the topic. It's for your own benefit, so it's very interesting to me. So I read all of it, and then after I read it, I would reread it and then take notes on it after I reread it, so that way I was fresher on the information, and I could it's just rereading the information and summarizing it in your own words. And by doing that, I put it into bulletin points, as you saw earlier. And through bulletin points, then I have summarized notes of things I'm familiar with. Like, I read the material first, then I wrote it down. And then, obviously if I was being tested on this material, I would study through it on the daily. But since I'm not being tested, obviously I did gain a lot of information. It's not like I'm just going to lose that information. But I would read it before bed, read my notes before bed. They say you retain information a lot better if you read things before bed and then go to sleep on it. So I would do that. I did it late at night, so I woke up, still pretty fresh with knowledge. And yeah, that's pretty much my rehearse. It's pretty basic guidelines, everything you've ever been taught from like grade school to now. Read it, take notes on it, summarize it, reread it again, keep doing it, keep doing it. Like repetition is key in anything. So yeah. So now I'm supposed to do evaluate in the core process, CORE. Okay, so now I'm on the evaluate, and the evaluation process is very tricky because it says, hang on. See, how did you evaluate your learning effectiveness and whatnot? And the feedback, received feedback. All right, so I did this on my own. I didn't ask anybody for help. I didn't really get any feedback other than my own. And so, granted, when doing a big project like this, you should have a study partner or whatnot, but I didn't start working on it until last night. So my study partner was me, myself, and I. How did I know I was ready to present this information? Well, truth be told, after I've read everything and I know everything, all that's left to do is to do the work. So it's not about being ready, it's just about being confident that you know what you're talking about. So, yeah. All right, guys. So now it's time to get down to what I learned. Overtraining. What's it about? What's the hype? What is it? So a lot of overtraining is a few things. Okay, lack of rest, malnutrition, not enough nutrition in their diet for what they're doing to their body, and stress. Stress equals strain. So always remember that. Okay, so a lot of these athletes that are overtraining, mind you, are of the pro or elite level. Okay, it's not like your average Joe. I mean, they're not saying there isn't, but usually the average person isn't necessarily overworking themselves to death because they don't have that kind of time. So if you're getting paid money to, perform in this field, sport, dance, whatever, then you're really concerned about maintaining your starting position only because you're afraid of someone outworking you. And through that worry, you're probably not having enough rest. You're continuing to work more and more and more. Or, with the dancers, I was reading that since they're literally always dancing, and they have slim figures, they can't eat enough. And because of that, they're not able to get the nutritional value that they need. So between not enough time and not enough, you don't have enough time to really recover and recover yourself. So go through it. What happens in the body when you're training or you exercise? So when you work out, okay, after you work, you're basically you're creating miniature tears in your muscle fibers, okay. And after you're done with your workout, okay, your body goes to repair and replace damaged muscle fibers through like a small cellular process where it infuses muscle fibers together with new muscle protein strands. Okay, so that's why they always say protein makes bigger muscles. Well, that's not always the case. Protein is just used to repair the muscles, and by repairing these small miniature tears, what you get is a more condensed, stronger muscle. Break down, repair, stronger. Like a broken bone, you break a bone, reforms as a stronger bone. Same thing with the muscles. You break down the muscles, you repair it, and they're stronger muscles. And you can keep doing this, and there's different techniques, and you can train for hypertrophy, which is getting more volume, which would in turn create bigger muscles. Or you can create other forms of training where it's just you're focusing on strength, where you're focusing on the density, like pound per pound, I would say. And there are different ways to repair your muscles, and different effects will happen. Okay, but what happens is that these athletes aren't doing these steps to repair the muscle fibers, okay, the torn muscle fibers. And because they're not repairing the torn muscle fibers, what happens is your body cannibalizes itself and eats itself to repair these muscles. And people think, oh yeah, it's a great idea, lose weight. but it's a horrible idea. You'd never want your body to cannibalize itself. After you exercise, you have a 30-minute window called the metabolic time period. Okay, in those 30 minutes, you have exactly 30 minutes to eat or drink a protein shake. Eat some type of nutritional value to replenish your body and repair it with protein. If you miss that 30 metabolic window, then your body goes into a metabolic phase and eats itself. Okay, you do not want that. And let's see. So then you gotta look at it in the big picture. Okay, if your body is eating itself and it's not getting enough nutrition, then your body's got to keep running. It's a machine, but no fuel. The body's essentially eating away yourself. Your fuel. So then what happens to the rest of your body? Your muscles are getting recovered by your body eating itself, but what about your bones per se, or your brain, or your motor function? So a few things happen. Okay, depending on how much you're not reestablishing your nutrition, your bones will actually get weaker as well. You're not going to have enough calcium or vitamin D. Your bones will get weak and they'll experience miniature fractures depending on the extent of your training. Dancers or even professional athletes, if you're not nutritionalizing yourself, there'll be more strain on the bones because the muscles are not properly maintained. Okay, you got to think of it like the muscles absorb all the shock and strain that your body's going through. And if they're not properly maintained, or they don't have enough nutrition to be adequately efficient, then you got to think of all the strain that's being put on your bones. And what happens is, like I said, micro fractures will start to occur in your bones. So altogether, you're going to have less dense, fragile bones then. And that's not even the worst of it. If you keep going, what happens is you'll get a, what is it called? Oh, okay. You'll experience something depending on what you're doing. Will overuse in a certain joint or whatnot. You'll what's called tissue death. Your tissue will literally die and disintegrate because it is not having the food to rebuild itself. So imagine not having tissue or like cartilage in a necessary joint like your foot. Okay, imagine how painful your foot is going to be, and on top of that, you're having fragile bones. So overtraining is a very serious thing, and some people have diagnosed it as a syndrome, overtraining syndrome. Okay, overtraining syndrome is essentially when the athlete becomes, they work so hard that they become kind of mentally unstable. I wouldn't say unstable, but they're really not thinking about anything else but training, to the point where they don't care about what's happening. They're just doing it. So, moral of the story, get adequate rest, eat, replenish your body. And, if you ever do make it to the pro level on anything, just work hard, eat hard, rest hard, that's all it is, use common sense, man. Don't destroy your body. One more thing I just wanted to go over real quick is, if your body's not getting enough nutrition, then obviously your brain's not getting enough nutrition. What happens is, altogether, when your body is trying to compensate for what your body has to feed itself, everything is kind of getting second-handed fed. It's kind of like the priority is what gets nutrition, which is the broken down muscles. So motor skills or function decreases, or it has a slowed reaction time. So if you're jumping rope and you're fatigued and you're tired, or you haven't had proper nutrition, then you're not gonna be able to process jumping rope as well as you would when you have adequate nutrition in you, or your body's running like it should be. Okay, and that's not just with that, it's just thinking in general. Okay, if you keep working your body with no adequate rest and repair, you're gonna be slow. You're gonna be mentally slow. That's just how it is, And I just wanted to leave that comment in there because I forgot to put it there.